So I'm down here at Bunker Bay today. We're going to compare two putters. We're going to compare an old putter I've gamed for a while, which is the Evnroll 5.3. Very high MOI, high forgiving putter. Very similar to some of the Odyssey designs. So you've got the perimeter weighting and then the stability bar across the back, but it's a milled face. And I've also had an upgrade shaft put in this. It's the KBS Tour GPS graphite shaft. So it's meant to be a very forgiving putter, but it's not zero torque, it's not low angle balance. So we see here, it's kind of a face balance, slight toe high, minimal toe hang, but this is a putter I've used before. I've always been very curious. We're going to compare to the DF3 from LAB. The idea behind these is that there's no one balance point. You could rotate that putter into different positions and it won't swing back to a different position. So it has no bias during the putting stroke to wanting to rotate or close the putter. Now, LAB and other manufacturers that do zero torque putters are basically saying that the putter is constantly trying to wiggle through the putting stroke. The thing that they're noticing is when they do that, they put it in a device where there's no hand pressure onto the club. And yes, the toe of the club will start to spin and you'll see it do that. But when we putt, there's obviously an element of us holding the putter. However we hold it, you know, pencil, claw, conventional, reverse, whatever it might be, we have handle of the club. So from that perspective, the club's never really rotating out of control, but we're going to measure that. We're going to use Vertex putting, which is a similar version to Sand Putt Lab or Capto. It's going to measure everything the putter does through the stroke, and we're going to see which one is most consistent for me and which one I should really be gaming. Let's get stuck in, let's see what works for me. Okay, so let's start with the Evnroll. We've got the Vertex putting device on here, and I'm set 10 foot away from the template hole on the green. So let's get some putts going. Let's get some data recorded. Now, it's important to note I've been using the LAB for the last 6 months. So there is a very unique feel to LAB putters. Going back to this now, feels a bit strange. I mean, I'm managing to roll the ball down the centre white line on the mat. It's going through the cup template on the floor. But let's get a few recorded. Let's get a fair pool of putts to compare from, and then we'll dive into some data. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the data from the Evnroll. This is the average of 15 putts, and the thing that stands out for me is face change on opening the putter, or on returning it 1 degree open on average compared to where it was set up. And I also have the toe a little bit upright. Now, uprightness on a putter that's not got an awful lot of loft probably won't make an awful lot of difference, but it's potentially slightly offsetting the face being a fraction open. So even though the putt's generally rolled down the target line and into that silhouette cup, there's a few things that are a bit inconsistent. Now, rhythm isn't a million miles off. 1.8, I'd like to see it near a 2, maybe 2.1. But face being slightly open, maybe that would suggest I need a more toe hang putter, with it being more face balance with minimal toe hang. Perhaps I need a little bit more help rotating the putter square, which would be really interesting to compare against the LAB, because obviously the LAB has no intention on turning. There's no twist, there's no torque. So in theory, the LAB should leave it a bit more open, but let's find out. Let's see what, if any, changes happen using the LAB, and let's compare it to the Evnroll. Okay, so let's do the same now. 15 putts with the LAB. We'll compare them. I really want to see what happens with regards to rotation of the putter. As we saw, generally leaving the face open with the Evnroll, which is interesting. It would suggest that possibly I need something a little bit more toe hang to help rotate the putter face. But let's give this a go. As we know, there's no hang or anything on this putter, so will this allow me to be a lot more consistent with returning the face back to where it was at setup? Now, it's important to note that this putter is a touch shorter than the Evnroll, so my posture is a little bit different. It is custom fit for me, which the other one was custom fit as well, but LAB's fitting process suggests that this should be a little bit shorter to allow me to get into a better posture to rock my shoulders rather than upright. So this is 32.5 and that's 33.25. The idea here, as a 6 foot person, if I let my arms hang a little bit more straighter down, it should get me here. My shoulders are easier to rock rather than being upright and turning. That supposedly is where I can start using my hands and arms too much. Face rotation can vary. So shorter putter, that may well be a contributing factor should this prove to be more beneficial. I would say straight away though, I can definitely feel the difference in the weight of the head. It's almost as though there is no weight on this putter. Where it's balanced in a certain point, the head feels incredibly light, and this is a heavy weighted head. So if you're somebody who is considering getting a zero torque putter, LAB or otherwise, try them out. Because if you don't like light-headed putters, they may not be for you. Putting lead tape on them will completely throw away the balancing and the zero torquing aspect. So it's really important that you get comfortable with a putter, fitted for a putter, before you buy it. It's a lot of money for, well, all golf clubs these days, but yeah, it's a lot of money to invest in one of these putters. So get fit, try it, because it is a club you use the most in your bag. Doesn't matter how good or how bad you are. You know, if you have 23 putts in a round of golf, which is incredible, it's still more shots than you would your driver, which a lot of people are very happy spending £500 on every couple of years when a new one comes out. So, hit this putt, we'll compare. Now, visually, without looking at the data, okay, I would say success rate on putting was the same. Feeling was a little bit different on that after using the Evnroll, but comfort-wise, I'm leaning towards trusting the LAB because I know the technology is meant to help. So let's dive in, let's compare the two sets of data and we'll see what the result actually is for me. Okay, so let's compare the two. Now this is really interesting. We've got the previous data on the left, which was the Evnroll. As we said, the face was 1 degree open compared to where it was set up. Now, if I look at the average for the same amount of putts here on the LAB putter, I'm 0.01 degree open compared to where I'm set up. So I'm actually a lot more on target or on my intention of where I'm set up with the LAB putter. I look at my lie angle as well. Now, potentially where it is a bit shorter, that's made a slight difference of it being less toe up, but that's better. And I look at the rhythm of my putting stroke, that's pretty similar, a bit closer to the 2 mark that I'm looking at. So the total length, total time of the stroke, sorry, bearing in mind they're all 10-foot putts, is the same. So I'm consistent in the length of time, varying slightly on backstroke to through stroke, but very minimal. But there's less rotation of the putter with the LAB back and through, and what rotation is there is really consistent on rotating back and rotating through. Whereas with the Evnroll, it rotates open more on the way back, but doesn't close as much on the way through. So really interesting there. For me, the LAB putter is much more consistent. If I aim it where I want it to go, it will go in. And that relates to kind of what I was saying in the first few rounds I ever played with it. I aimed, I shoot, it went in. So do not get me wrong, if you're not aiming in the right spot, it still won't go in. But if your aim is pretty correct, your read is pretty correct, then as long as you get the speed, which is the third key, then you're going to hold lots of putts, or at least I am going to hold lots of putts. So it gives me some confidence there, and hopefully now I know that, right, the LAB putter, I will stick with it. I know I'm consistent with it, and I would say I have noticed probably more putts. Yes, I would say less putts missing right. If I'm going to miss, I'm probably missing left. So that would be my tendency before. I'd imagine with the face being open and subconsciously trying to square it up. Whereas that's an action I no longer require. So really, really interesting data. If you are tempted between lie angle balance / zero torque putters, go try them, get fit for them. There are some really good fitters for putters. They will tell you exactly what works for you. But this is a very simple, basic test using data to confirm that the LAB putter has earned a place in my golf bag. If you have any questions, ping me a message. I'd love to know your thoughts on this in the comments below. And if it has swayed you in one way or another to purchase a putter, whether it be zero torque or not, let me know. Hopefully it will give you a small insight into the technology of putters and how it can change without any conscious thought on my stroke. It's changed my ability to get the ball on target better. As always, like and follow, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.